I used to go to a restaurant all the time, about 10 years ago. Restaurant chain called Friendly's, all across the United States. And I always wondered why they named it Friendly's, because they weren't. They weren't especially friendly. If you name a restaurant something like Friendly, you better be really nice, because that's odd. I mean, when I walk into one of the restaurants, I want like, hey, how are you? Oh my God, it's so good to see you. Do you want a table? Oh, please let me take you to a table. Do you want to have breakfast sometime or go to a movie? My God, you're friendly. I know that's the name of the place. We are friendly people. But that's not the way the restaurant was. When I walked into a Friendly's, I felt that the owner, the franchise, was run by a teenager. For many reasons. I don't think there was anybody in that place that was over 12 years old, as far as the staff was concerned. I was greeted by a hostess who I think had the afternoon off because she just went to morning kindergarten. Hi, would you like a table? Do you know where my mother is? It was very odd. They were all young people. And the chefs, the short order chefs, were kids. They still had pus on their face from oozing pimples. They weren't friendly at all. And the cooks and the waitstaff wore hairnets. I mean, I guess it's good not to get hair in your food, but at the same time, you got to look a little pretty.
On the air everywhere, this is New England Broadcasting.
Hairnets are not a turn-on. Never.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Good night.
All right.
It's the Ron Van Dam Show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hold on tight. Things can get a bit weird if you like that sort of thing.
There used to be like about 10 Friendlies within a 2-mile radius of my house. It was like CVS. They were everywhere. Now there's like one Friendlies about 5 states away. Not worth the drive. The only remnants of Friendlies that I see is when I go to the supermarket, there's Friendlies ice cream, which is, I guess, the great takeaway from that whole franchise. How was the food? I don't know. How was the ice cream? I guess available. All right, that's enough. Thank you. Welcome to the program. It's great to be with you. I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are at all. Look, you have your life. I have mine. Let's keep this somewhat unawkward for us, okay? I hope you stop by here every day. I really hope you do. But on the other hand, it sounds a little weird to me. Just, Ron, do you have listeners? Yeah. What do? They stop by. Ooh, that sounds odd to me. I know. It is odd. Congratulate me. Thank you for your applause. Congratulate me. I have not been on Facebook for 17 years now, and I think I'm exaggerating just a bit. I have not been on Facebook for about 7 months. Sure, I may have peeked into something to try to find somebody, but I didn't go to their page. I am so totally disinterested with Facebook. I think Facebook is the enemy of the people. Hey, Trump throws the phrase around. I guess we all should start doing that. He my president. Facebook is the enemy of the people. It's odd. They watch your every move. Here's something that's pissing me off. I'm one of the few people in the world that still has AOL. Now, you may say that that's archaic, it's ridiculous. No, it's like any other server, email server. They're all the same. AOL doesn't make the little sounds. There's no dial-up anymore. I mean, it's not that bad. But I have it because to change to something else, I have to tell everybody that they can't contact me. Wait a minute, that's a great idea! People can't contact me anymore. Let me think this through. Wait a minute. Anyway, I'm getting pop-up ads more frequently than ever, and I think it's because every company online is realizing we can make money if we just sell the information to people. Why are we going crazy with ads? Let's just sell the information to the North Koreans. And that's what they're doing. I am scared to go online and search for something. Oh my God. As soon as you search for something, the internet knows that you're interested in it, and now it'll come up in ads and will haunt you till you die. Here's what's going on. About 2 months ago, the lease was up on my car. That means when the lease is over, I would have no car. So I went online, to search for new car possibilities. Do I want to lease? Do I want to buy? What kind of car do I want? It was around President's Day. I still don't know what that holiday means, but there's a name, so I used it. I don't know if it's for all the presidents, just for Lincoln. I don't know. I thought, is there a separate Washington's? I don't even follow it anymore. The only reason that I need to know if it's a holiday is whether I should put my trash out on the curb or not. Other than that, I don't care if the post office is closed. It's another day that I can't get any bills. Ron, you still get invoices through the mail? Yes, I do, because I don't trust that Google machine. I'm not going to pay invoices through the internet so North Korea can hack into my checking account. No, thank you, ma'am, slam, bam. So I'm shopping for cars on the internet, and I'm looking at different car companies, and that's it. I do it like for a day. I'm just like shopping for cars. Next day I got in my car and I went down to the dealerships that I was somewhat interested in. I have since gotten a car. Otherwise, I would be housebound the rest of my life. Wouldn't be able to get to the studio, the supermarket, or to the prostitute's house. So that's a joke, by the way. Wasn't very funny, but still a joke. So I need a car. So I bought a car. I got a car. Bought a car. Yeah, I'll be paying for it for the rest of my life, but I got one. I did that about 2 weeks ago. To this day, 2 weeks later, every time I go on that frickin' internet, there's a pop-up ad for a car. All right, listen, I already got the car. I'm no longer interested in being bombarded psychologically with cars, especially when the ads say that the cars is great deals on the car. I already got a car. Now you're trying to make me feel bad like I spent too much money because here's a deal that's even better, even though I already made the deal and I already got the car. But I can't stop these car ads from popping up everywhere that I go on the internet. On my AOL, on my POL, on my COL, on everything. God forbid I should search for an item on Amazon. Oh, that will haunt me for 5 years. Don't ever look on Amazon for a cheese grater. You will be bombarded with cheese grater pop-up ads for the rest of your life. And there's nothing more embarrassing. If someone's looking over your shoulder and you're looking something up on the internet highway, and they say, Ron, what is that popping up in the corner? Are those cheese graters? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. The internet should know if I have bought a cheese grater or not and stop sending me cheese grater Ads. Stop sending me car ads. I got a car. You're wasting your freaking time. And you're driving me nuts. This is like psychological waterboarding. Leave me alone with the car thing. I'm good now. Leave me alone. And there's that little X in the upper right-hand corner of the ad. I click on that. It goes away. A minute later, it's back again. It's like, oh, my God. It's like you're stalking me. You are stalking me. Do I need a restraining order? There's nowhere to get one. If I Google the police ads will start coming up. Annoyed by your neighbor? Call the police right now. 1-800-5... Stop it! Leave me alone. Just leave me alone. You millennials have no idea how peaceful and quiet stuff was before this freaking internet thing came along. Our lives were simple and quiet and uncomplicated. I mean, I'm sorry that a girl in the Philippines got human trafficked and murdered. I don't know if that's the case. I assume that's in the news somewhere in the Philippines. Do I need to know this? I know it's horrible. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but how can I help? I can't. Why do I have to know about the thing in the Philippines? I made it up. Nothing happened in the Philippines. It could have. I don't know. I'm just using it as an example. I made it up. That's fake news, and I'm telling you. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. We used to get phone calls at my house when we were growing up, and they were from decent people who had voices. There weren't any telephone robots, no robocalls, no artificial voice things coming through the telephone. There were people who were paid to have jobs to do something like that. I go back far enough, well, my parents do. When you picked up the phone, if you had a question, you dialed 0. Dialing is something you don't understand. I don't know if you do or not. 0 would get you an operator. A person would answer the phone. It was usually a lady because things were very sexist back there, and that was a lady's job. But, hi, can I help you? Yes, do you know what time it is? 6:30, sir. Thank you very much. Do you know what time the supermarket down the street opens? That'd be at 8 o'clock, sir. Thank you very much. Anything else I can help you with? No, you've been fantastic. This is the greatest service ever. That was my internet. The operator, she knew everything, and it was a she. I'm assuming if there was a male operator, they wouldn't know anything. Except how to fix a car, right? Hey, I'm a male. I don't know how to fix a car, okay? I mean, I don't want to lose my manhood, but I don't know how to fix a car. I've never changed a tire in my life. And guess what? I'm damn proud of it, too. Do you know why I've never changed a tire? Because I can call other people that will, who know how to change a tire, who are already dirty, already have grease on their hands. I'm not putting my hands on a dirty tire that was flipping around on the road for 7 hours. Sorry, not my thing. There are people you can hire to do that. Join the Automobile Club, the AAA. I always get confused whether that's for emergency road service or if you drink too much alcohol and you have to go to meetings. I kind of get confused with the number of A's involved in both those organizations. To this day, I'm an intelligent, well-thinking individual, and I don't know the difference between the Automobile Association and Alcoholics Anonymous. Unless you drink while you drive, then those two organizations have a lot in common, along with the justice system. Whew, wow. I got to slow down. I got to slow it down, Ron. Slow it down. So I hate the internet. I use it for everything, but it comes back at me. There's a psychological price that you pay for this. It's not fun. If you grew up depending on the internet, you better get a psychologist or a psychiatrist because you're going to need one really soon. Your dependency level is like worse than opium. This thing is like, wow, did you ever forget your cell phone when you were going to go somewhere and you checked things out? And where's my cell phone? I left it at home. You turn around. Oddly enough, you're 700 miles away from your house, but you turn around anyway. You can't go anywhere without your cell phone, can you? It's like lifeblood for you. Can't not have a cell phone, can't not have internet. Had a power outage about 1.5 years ago in my house. We had no internet. I thought people were going to die psychologically. Not from the loss of power, but from the loss of the psychological dependency on the internet. What am I going to do? What am I going to do if I need information? Hey, the power's out. What information do you need? I need to know when the power's coming back. Oh, my God, it comes back when it comes back. But how am I going to get in touch with all my Facebook friends? I don't know. Use the mail. Send them I don't know. Send them a card. Oh, man. I think we're all comfortable with what we know. I really do. I mean, I'm not a millennial. There are no letters in the word millennial of where I came from. I didn't depend on that. As I said on last week's show, I never even went to the library. I have an aversion to information. I listen for information. I check out sources, but not that way. All right, whatever. Now I don't even know what I'm talking about. Does this ever happen to you? You talk so much and all of a sudden you just stop and you go, what am I even talking about? What am I doing here? Wait a minute, where am I? Do you ever get so deep in conversation? You're in your car and you're driving somewhere that's about like 15 miles away. It's going to take you about 20 minutes, half an hour to get there. You get in your car, you're perfectly sober, you haven't been drinking, you haven't been smoking, you're perfectly sober, you're entirely within your right mind. And in your car, and you start thinking about something. What am I going to do tomorrow? Let's see, I'm going to get up, and I'm going to play tennis, and then I'm going to go to volleyball, and before you know it, you snap out of it, and you're at your destination, and you say to yourself, how did I get here? I don't remember driving here. Here I am. Oh my God. Your brain goes on automatic pilot when you're driving to a place that you've been to many times, and you start to zone out. I stopped at red lights. I didn't go through intersections aimlessly. I was totally within my mind. And yet, how did I get here? I don't remember driving here. That gets scary, doesn't it? Wow. Somehow, if I've had a little bit to drink and then I get in the car, I know every single block because you're paranoid. Oh my God, I got just one more. Open the window so I can get some air here. You know every single foot of that journey. But when you just zone out mentally, somehow you get there. It's scary. It's very scary. I know you've had that experience because I know you. Because I have binoculars and I can see through your window right now. That's scary too, isn't it? I don't have binoculars, by the way. Binoculars bother me. I had them when I was a kid. I used to go hiking. Yeah, I was young enough when I used to actually hike. The thought of hiking now is totally out of possibility. Ron, you want to go hiking? It's a beautiful Sunday. You want to go hiking in the woods? Fuck no. What are you talking about? Why? What's the difference between hiking and walking around the block? I don't understand. Because there are trees involved? I got trees on my block. Hiking? What are you talking about? Yeah, I want to go through rough terrain. Well, go through rough terrain. Why do you need me to do that? Why do you think I want to go walking through rough terrain? The smoother the terrain, the better. When I was younger, people used to say to me, Ron, do you want to go camping? We can camp out. We'll get a tent and we'll camp out at this campsite and we'll We'll build a fire and have beans and fart and tell jokes, and then we'll sleep under the stars. No. No, how about this for a no? You see, I am fortunate enough to have shelter. I have a bed, which is quite comfortable. I don't have to sleep under the stars because there's a roof over the thing. I have air conditioning. It's a little hot outside. Why would I want to put myself in a situation of total discomfort for the excitement of not having my comfort that I already have? Why don't you go camping and make believe you're destitute and living in a box? Call me up the next morning and let me know how many times you were bitten by mosquitoes or mauled by a black bear. And while you're having your little beans around the campfire, I'll be enjoying a baked potato and a filet mignon and a nice glass of wine served to me by a person who's dressed up and calls me sir. Your choice, whatever. Sorry. I'm sorry, but that's the way that's going to be. Our guest joins us momentarily on the show today. I thank you so much for clicking or whatever you did to find me. Here I am. God, I got to grow up.
The Ron Van Dam Show is intended for mature audiences.
Oh, so that's what ironic means.
Yes, honey. Yes, it does.
William H. Coles joins us now. He's an author, and he's written quite an interesting book called McDowell, and it's a novel. How long ago did you write this particular book?
It's been about a year and a half ago.
Oh, that's not that long ago. Okay. This is a portrayal of a life that's interesting. What before we get into it, what prompted you to write this type of book?
Well, I was always interested in literature and literary fiction, and I was a surgeon, and I retired 23 years ago, and I decided to write literary fiction, the best possible literary fiction I could write, because I wanted my stories to go on into the future. I wanted people to be able to enjoy them in future generations. But I also wanted to use literary fiction because I wanted them to be significant and mean something, so that readers could take something away that they could think about. That would be stimulated about the human condition, really.
Yeah, and this is actually, as we understand, it's your fifth novel, which means you've been doing this for quite some time.
Yeah, I did. It's 23 years ago. I sat down. I took 10 years to really learn how to write, and I've done 37 short stories also, which are out, and then I've done essays and interviews for educational material on how to write creative fiction. So I've been busy. Yeah,
I've always thought that a surgeon and or a doctor, and then you've also been a teacher, I understand.
I teach on the internet. Yes, okay. I mean I was a professor in surgery, but a teacher of creative writing. Yes.
See, these are professions that give a person a lot of understanding and a lot of interaction with people who are, I would say, sometimes in crisis, but certainly in very deep emotional states. Especially as a surgeon, of course, what you're performing there is life-saving in many circumstances, or corrective, certainly. So I would assume that you had gathered a lot of human emotion from what you had occupationally been through.
I think that's true. It certainly takes a lot of emotional strength to be a surgeon, and I was a regent for the American College of Surgeons, and that allowed me to be exposed to literally thousands of surgeons. It's an organization with more than 60,000 members, and during that time, I did experience and listen to a lot of the emotional baggage that surgeons carry, and it was useful in this novel. And there is a doctor in all my novels, not as a protagonist always, but because that's what has been my life, and that's what I know best.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. There's no doubt that there's no doubt that the exposure to doctors and living to be a doctor did affect this novel. Sure.
Well, especially you're doing ocular surgery, which that's traumatic because that's one of the major senses, and that's a panic deal for many people.
Yes.
I read a lot of the book, and I like the way that it doesn't tell me a story through the eyes of somebody writing it. It tells me a story through dialogue in much of the book, which I find is a little bit different than others.
Yeah, this is literary fiction, and literary fiction is different. I mean, all stories have a beginning, middle, and end, and characters, and plot, and setting, and drama. But literary fiction is special, and it's special because it emphasizes characterization. The plot actually is character based. That means the character is involved in the motion of the plot forward. The characters have changed. I mean, there's something that happens to the character where they're enlightened in some way, or they discover something new, and that usually transfers to the reader. And then the literary story is an art form. It's an art form created in certain ways to bring beauty and longevity to the story itself. So this is, and McDowell is an example of a literary story, and it's structured based on my really examination of all the great writers of the past who wrote exactly as you described. They rarely wrote in first person, for example, or they rarely delivered the story through their own perceptions. And I think that's one of the things that makes McDowell what it is.
It's almost like reading a script, in a way.
Yes.
So no,
but the dialogue is so important. Most authors, many authors don't use dialogue to develop characterization, or they don't study the dialogue so that that for the reader it delivers all sorts of information about the character. And,
Absolutely. Well, it's very similar to speaking to somebody. After about a minute, where they at and what their education was and how they express themselves, and if they have any anger wrapped up into their words, any remorse wrapped up, it's all right there. It's very nice.
And conflict. I mean, that's the other major thing. Dialogue can deliver conflict with truth and a lot of energy.
Yeah. Tell me about the protagonist.
Well, McDowell is sort of a loveless, uncaring, morally deficient surgeon, and he's disliked as he climbs to the top. He's a brutal, no prisoners kind of guy that rises within his profession. And when he gets to the top, he's faced with a family tragedy, and he's convicted for second-degree murder and is imprisoned. And that's the first half of the book, and then he escapes. And to regain, trying to regain his life as a fugitive on the run. He's got authorities and the media and those he harmed running after him, and then he meets a lot of ordinary people who teach him new values, really, and how to integrate with humanity. He never took the time to really develop any way to connect to humanity. So so then he comes out and he becomes selfless and sincere for caring for others, and it gives him satisfaction with living. but then, of course, he's faced with another disaster. So,
That's life.
sort of ironically, I guess. Yeah. It's been well received. It was a finalist in the William Faulkner Creative Writing Competition.
Yeah.
It was 3 on the Amazon bestseller list category. On the first 6 months, it had greater than 10,000 online visitors, and it's got hundreds of 4 of 4 and 5 of 5-star reviews. So I recommend this book to any reader who enjoys, and I'd be interested in your take on it too. Any reader who enjoys stories about family, love, conflict, action, suspense, morality, and it's got strong plots. And there are subplots in this novel too, with the children, and those are the things I think that the readers would really enjoy about this novel.
Yeah, you kind of got it all in there. That's for sure. I also remark at the cover. It's an illustration of the protagonist, McDowell, and man, that one illustration that pulled me into the book, to be honest with you.
Isn't that good? Great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's not a normal portrait kind of thing. It shows so much emotion and conflict and so much stuff going on from a guy just wearing a hat. It's kind of interesting. Yeah.
Well, that's nice feedback. Thank you very much. That's very helpful.
Well, the novel is called McDowell. It's available everywhere. How do we get in touch with follow you, for example?
You can find all this information on Story in, that's IN, literary fiction, Story in literary fiction, and .com. And then you could, if you just go look me up, you can also find everything about me under William H. Coles, Coles, that's with an S, and then you can find that on the internet and easily access everything. I have a podcast out where I read all my short stories and the novels, and that's free, and you can find that at storyinfictionpodcast.com.
Excellent. Hey, it's a pleasure speaking to you. The novel is McDowell. Look for it, William H. Coles, and we'll follow you and see what else is in the future and see what you did in your past. And thank you so much for your time today.
Right. Take care. Nice talking to you.
You too. Bye-bye. Out of time for today. Can we do this again tomorrow? Doesn't have to be at this time. Anytime you want tomorrow, I'm always here. I'm always sitting here waiting for you to click on me. It's what I do for a living. It's my job. Do it. Just do it. Was it Nike? Just do it? I don't even know. Ineffective advertising. I know the slogan, but I don't know what company it's for. Ineffective advertising. Have yourselves a wonderful day. I wish you peace. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Goodbye. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Bye. Goodbye.